Alright, so the good news is that I've managed to read all of Persepolis Rising in less than a week. The bad news is that this means we have to wait a whole nother year before the next book comes out, and we have to wait at least 4 or 5 months before Season 3 of the show starts. So, mixed bag, but Persepolis Rising was good.
This is the introduction song. It's not very good, but it's not too long.
This is basically the beginning of the end for The Expanse, right? The other books, they all had an overarching story, but most of them were also separate, self-contained, or semi-self-contained stories, with the exception of Nemesis Games and Babylon's Ashes, which was all about fighting Marco in the Free Navy. But then, the final 3 books are Persepolis Rising and the last 2, which haven't been named yet. Those are all just going to be one big trilogy. And so, as a start to the trilogy, this is really fucking good, actually. Like, this is like the Empire Strikes Back of the Expanse series. Because shit gets dark, believe me, without going into too much detail. Shit gets really dark, and people are dead, and just the situation seems mostly hopeless, just like at the end of Empire Strikes Back, which is a little odd because, like I said, the last 3 are supposed to be like their own trilogy, and usually the second book in the trilogy is the lowest point, and I don't see how things can get a whole lot worse than this, but I suppose I shouldn't say that because they can definitely get worse. So the biggest thing about this book that surprised the hell out of me when I first started it was that it skips forward 30 years. Like this is 30 years after the end of Babylon's Ashes, and you know, the solar system is mostly done rebuilding. The colony worlds out in the Ring Gates have grown up quite a lot. They're still, they're still in their infancy, but there are many of them very successful. And then there's Laconia, which no one has gone to yet. And Laconia is the system that Winston Duarte and all the mutineers from the Martian Navy took over. And they just broadcast the signal saying, stay away, and every time they've sent probes through, they've apparently been destroyed. And, they've had their own problems back in the Sol system and in the colonies, so they just haven't really bothered putting forward the resources in order to investigate or deal with it. And the book literally starts off, the prologue is all about Laconia and how it's been built up, and how Duarte and all of the Laconians, I guess we'll just call them that, all the people that followed him, they have been studying the proto-molecule and the other technology left by the people that created it. I keep saying that, I don't know why. They weren't humans, but whatever. The civilization that created them, they've been studying and reverse engineering a bunch of their technology, so it's way beyond what any other humans have. And they want to take over all of human civilization and work together to create something new. And, that's obviously a little, but you can actually see where they're coming from with it. And it kinda almost makes sense when you see both Duarte and other characters talk about it. You understand where they're coming from and why they're doing the things they do. And even though they do some bad shit, they aren't straight up evil. So, for that reason, they're actually very, very good villains. And another reason that they're good villains is just that, like I said, their technology is way beyond what they have what the other humans have. There we go, words. But it's almost impossible to fight against them. And this book makes that very clear from the moment you see them, and it just gets worse as time goes on. It's difficult for me to really go into detail on this because, I don't want to spoil anything about the plot, at all. Even stuff that happens near the beginning. I just want to say the Laconians are kind of scary. They finally come out of their gate at the beginning, and I really don't want to say anything beyond that because I couldn't predict any of this before it happened. Excuse me, with the exception of 1 or 2 things at the climax. I could kind of see that coming, but I still didn't expect it all that much from the beginning. And this just goes fucking crazy from Jump Street. There's a ton of twists and turns. while The Expanse is normally a slow burning kind of series, and this one is still pretty slow burn, it also has a lot more action and stuff than it normally did, which I'm hoping that the last two books will also have that, because it seems like at the first few, at the beginning, we had slower paced stories with little bits of action that jumped up, but then ever since Nemesis Games, it's been much faster paced, which I'm okay with. I think we should stick with that. One thing that did annoy me about this, though, is that the crew of the Rocinante, all 6 of them have been together for over 3 decades now. Like, the original 4 were together for almost 10 years, I think, before Babylon's Ashes, if I'm remembering correctly. And then Bobby and Clarissa joined, and since then, it's been 30 years. That's my entire life plus another 9 years, and it doesn't feel like 30 years have passed with them. It feels like a long time has passed with the rest of the system. Like, you're just thrown in and you immediately see just how much everything's changed, and it's actually really cool. And I like that because, like I said, this world is very, very well. It has a lot of detail in it. It's very well defined, and seeing it change and evolve makes it even better in that sense. Excuse me. However, while the world has changed a lot, it doesn't feel like the characters and the crew and the relationships have changed all that much. Like, it mentions that Alex got married, had a kid, and got divorced, and now his kid is going off to college, all in the space of between books, which is weird. But Alex himself doesn't seem that much different. He seems like the same old dude that he always was. Which, okay, that's fine, I guess. Amos is pretty much the same dude he was before. He's, a bit of a sociopath, but you still like him. He's funny, and he's still very loyal to all his friends. His relationship with Clarissa is more or less the same as it was in Babylon's Ashes. Like, maybe it's a little bit deeper, but it's still pretty much the same. Not much has changed with it. Clarissa, you do get the feeling has changed a bit, but still, like, we already saw that in action in Nemesis Games and Babylon's Ashes, so I don't know, that's kind of weird. Bobby feels like she's changed a little bit, and then Naomi and Holden just feel exactly the same as they did before. So it's just a little disappointing to think that just nothing has happened to them in 3 whole decades that would make them change, really. And while granted, you usually want to put character development on screen and not off screen, it is still, they mostly feel like the same people. So that was a little shorter than I intended, but, like, I just really, really don't want to talk about the plot to this at all. Like, seeing the Laconians come through, seeing their technology, hearing their ideology, it's fascinating and terrifying all at once, and seeing the other characters have to try and fight back against that, this unstoppable force is just incredible. So I immediately want to read the next book for this, and I can't, which makes me sad. Like, the only books in the series that have had cliffhangers this good have been Caliban's War and Nemesis Games, with Caliban's War still being the best by a pretty huge margin, but still, it's frustrating, but also that's how you know the book is great. It made you want to read the next one immediately. So seriously, pick this up like right away. It's not going to be in the library or anything yet because it came out less than a week ago, but just buy it on Amazon or Nook or just whatever it is you read on. Just seriously pick up Persepolis Rising. It kicks ass.